All right, everyone, let's review for exam 2, my math lab style. So all of you, this Zoom session is coming to you live and in living color from the online math resource. So this is where the video that we are recording right now will go when we are done. So in here, just to show you where it's at, it will go under intermediate algebra. And you'll go into test review material. And you're going to want to make sure that you click on the My Math Lab reviews. And right here, this is the version we're going to be working with. It's all ready for you to go. This is going to be, right now, these are just the answers, but after this video, that will be a full worked out solution. And then right over here, this is where today's video is going to go. Okay? So anytime after this, you can always come back and rewatch it. You can look at the solutions. You can print off or bring up on your computer a blank document, all yours for the taking at the low, low price of being free. So here's the document that we're going to be working with. All right, so let's get this party started. I don't need this stuff anymore. No, so that way my computer doesn't slow down on me too much. You definitely don't need my email up. So let me get rid of stuff I don't need. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so question number uno. For those of you that don't know Swahili, that's 1,000. All right. Determine whether the ordered pair 1, 4 is a solution of the system. And there's our system, 5x minus 2y equal to -3 and -4x plus 3y equal to 8. How do I determine if something is a solution?
Plug it in.
Plug it in. That's all you got to do. So we're going to take this point, 1, 4, and we're going to plug it into both equations. Maybe. Because remember, we have to make sure that it works in both of them, that it is true in both of them. So I'm writing down my system real quick while I stall with all these extra phrases that I'm giving you. And here we go. So here's our system. There's the point. So we're going to plug it into this first one and see if it works. If it does, then we'll plug it into the second one. Okay, but if it doesn't work for the first one, then there's no reason to plug it into the second one because it will not be a solution. So we're going to take 5 times our x value, which is 1, because points are made up of x and y. That's the x, that's the y. Minus 2 times our y value, which is 4z's, equal to -3. Well, 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 4 is 8. So does 5 minus 8 equal -3? Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. -3 equals -3. So far that checks out. Now we do have to plug into the second one then. So we're going to take -4 times our x value, which is 1. Plus 3 times our y value, which is 4. And we want to see if we get 8. So -4 times 1, well, that's -4. 3 times 4, well, that's 12. Does -4 plus 12 give us 8?
Yeah.
Yes. So it works out for both of these. So what's the answer? Is that a solution or not?
Yeah, it's a solution.
Yeah.
Yay! 100 points for everybody. The answer is yes. Okay. Question number dos. So this one says determine whether the ordered pairs is A. It's another ordered pair solution. This time they give you fractions. Oh no, the deadly fraction. Do we really have to worry about fractions? Nicole's shaking her head no. Why do we not have to really worry about fractions? What do we have that can help us?
The calculator.
You're darn tootin', you're right. That's good. Let's just use the calculator to let the big dog eat. Okay? So again, I'm just writing down my equations real quick. So we've got the system 4x plus 2y equal to -1, and 12x equals 7y plus 19, and our point is 3/4, comma, -2. I mean, the other thing that you can do with this is if you don't like 3/4, you can always turn it into the decimal and work with it as a decimal. It doesn't really matter in this case because all we want to know is does it work? Is it a solution? Yes or no? So if you really want to turn 3/4 into its decimal, that's 0.75. And you can plug in 0.75 if you want. It's your call. So let's plug into the first one. So we're going to take 4 times our x, which the 3/4 is x. The -2 is your y. So 4 times 3/4 plus 2 times -2, is that a -1? So what's going to happen when we multiply the 4 and the 3/4? What do we get?
3.
3, that's right. It's like canceling the fraction out because you're multiplying by that denominator there. It's like canceling it out. And then we've got 2 times -2.
-4.
Yay, equal to -1. So does 3 plus -4 give us a -1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. -1 equals -1, so that checks out. So that means we do got to check the next one. So we're going to plug in. So we got 12 times 3/4 equal to 7 times -2 plus 19. Okay. What happens when we multiply the 12 and the 3/4?
You get 9.
That is correct. And what is 7 times -2?
-14.
All right, so the question is, if I take -14 and add it to 19, does that give me 9?
No.
No, what is,
5.
it gives us 5. So right here, this does not make sense. Kiki gets 9 tacos. Mr. Armstrong gets 5 tacos. We're not the same, Kiki. You get more tacos than me, jerk. So is 3/4, comma, -2 a solution?
No.
No, because it broke it down and did not work in the last one. Because Kiki's getting 9 tacos and Mr. Armstrong's getting 5. Unfair. There you go. There's number 2. Moving on. Number 3, and there are only 20 questions on this, just so you guys know. Only 20 questions. Okay, so the next one says to solve by graphing. So we got x plus y equal to -1, and we've got x minus 2y equal to 8. So we want to solve this by graphing.
You said we're allowed to use Desmos on the exam, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Seven, 8. What Lamar just asked for my exam for my students, this is Mr. Armstrong, if you don't have a graphing calculator in front of you, you can open up Desmos to use it. And I believe there's another professor that allows Desmos, but I'm not sure about the other ones. But remember that I show everything from the TI-84 perspective. Okay? So again, remember that these answer choices, if we solve this and we see the lines intersect each other at one point, that's the answer A. If we see that the two lines are the same line, they lie on top of each other, so you only see one line, that's B, that's infinite. And if we see the lines are parallel, then that's the choice C, where it's a no solution. Okay? And it says right in here, if you're going to fill in this blank, up here it says write an ordered pair, which means write a point. All right, so let's go to our calculator and let's actually have it graph. Okay? So let me open up my calculator. Now, are these equations ready to go in the calculator? My x plus y equal to -1 and my x minus 2y equal to 8. Are they ready to go into the calculator?
No.
Because what form do they have to be?
Y-intercepts?
They have to be y-intercept, slope-intercept. So we have to convert these real quick. Okay, my calculator's still coming up. So let's take the x plus y equal to -1. How do I get the y value by itself? What are we going to do?
Use a cover-up method.
No.
Subtract the x to the -1.
Subtract the x over here. Yeah, no, Nicole, you are right. You can use the cover-up method, but since I want to go to my graphing calculator to do this, the cover-up method isn't going to do anything. But you can absolutely use the cover-up method to graph this. You don't need the graphing calculator because both of these, it would be really easy to use the cover-up method on and graph the two intercepts. But in order to use my calculator, we're going to subtract x to both sides, and we're going to have y equals what?
-x, -1.
-x, -1. There you go. So that's going to go into y1. And then what am I going to do for the x minus 2y equal to 8? How do I get the y by itself there?
You gotta bring over the x. You're gonna subtract x on both sides, which is equal to -2y. -2y equal to -x plus 9 plus 8.
Then what?
You divide both sides by -2.
All right. And when I teach this, I say, actually take your numbers divided by the -2. Okay? So we got a little bit of a cleanup. There's my calculator. It's all ready to go now. So now we have y equal to the fraction -1 over -2. What does that become? -1 over -2.
Becomes
Positive x.
How about positive a half x? The half is still there. All you did was take a negative divided by negative, which is positive. Don't drop the number. What is 8 divided by -2?
Negative.
Negative what?
4.
4. There you go. So there's our two equations we're going to put into the calculator. So let's do that. So we go to where on the calculator to put this in?
Y equal to?
Y equals. Okay. And so up here for y1, I'm going to put in -x minus 1. Make sure that this is a negative sign and not the minus sign. Otherwise, it won't graph it correctly. So you put -x minus 1. Okay. Then I'm going to scroll down. And how do I put in the fraction 1/2? How do we put in the fraction 1/2?
I don't have the calculator, but isn't there like some sign that you put in on that calculator? You said
Isn't it alpha y equals?
It's alpha y equals 2-button press. Alpha y equals, and it's the number 1. And you put the 1, and then you scroll down, and you put the 2, and then you scroll out to the right. And put your x, and then minus 4. So there's our 2 equations. Everyone good so far? Rochelle, you okay? You're shaking your head no. What's the matter?
To be honest, I still don't know how to use this calculator.
Well, were you able to get these equations in?
Put in one, but I can't get to put in the next. I don't know.
Show me your calculator. Yeah, that one's not a graphing calculator, hun.
Okay.
That's why.
But it gave me the y equal to though.
Pretty sure those will not graph for you. So from here, all we're going to do is hit graph. And this is what we need to get into the My Math Lab. And you can see what kind of answer we're going to have. So based off of this picture, will we select the A, the B, or the C?
Hey.
The A.
The A, because it definitely hit at one point. So you'll select the A, and does anybody know what this point is?
2, -2.
Negative
careful.
1.
Wait, -3.
Negative 1.
No. 2. 2 what?
-3.
-3.
Let's see the line covering the blue.
Yeah. So, and again, remember that we can check this in the calculator by doing second trace and going to number 5, intersect. So we scroll down, hit enter, and then what do we do now to check that? What do we got to do?
On the calculator, you mean? Isn't there something
Yep.
where you can check all the points?
Is it
Yeah,
a
we'll get to that. Say it again, Nicole.
window? Oh, no, that's not.
Nope. No. We went to second trace, and we're going to check the intersect. That's number 5.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do now? Remember, it's going to ask you 3 questions. Where do we go to answer those 3 questions? Go to where they intersect.
Oh,
So we go to right about there, and then what do I do? What am I going to hit 3 times?
Enter.
Enter. Go to the intersection and hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! There's the answer. Okay. Now, Lamar, you said that we can go somewhere and check all the points. Where can I go to look at all the points for these? It's a 2-button push. What are we going to push?
Is it alpha trace?
Not alpha trace, but close.
Second and graph.
Oh my gosh, you're so good. Yeah, second and graph because you want the table. And if we scroll down, because I'm up in the negatives, if you look right here, see how both of these have the same y value? That's their intersection point. 2, comma, -3. Because both of these have the same y value. Okay? Now that we already know the answer, though, so we know it's A, we're going to put in here parenthesis 2, comma, -3, parenthesis. We still have to graph. So remember that when it comes to graphing, all you're going to do is click on the graph somewhere, and that's going to bring up your MyMathLab tools. Okay? And remember that we have the arrow tool, we have a line tool, and then there's like a quadratic tool, so on and so forth. And then you got like the solid line and the dotted line, and then like the clear and the blah, blah, blah. Okay? So once we click on the graph, our MyMathLab tools appear. And how are we going to graph these lines? What do we need to do?
You pick on the second one.
So
And you
pick the
plot
line, and then what?
Plot each point.
And plot each point. Where are you going to get the points from?
From the
Where
table?
we're going from the table. And how many points do you need?
2.
There you go. Nope, just 2. You need 2. 2 points make a line. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to come into the graphing calculator and find me 2 points that we can plot. So the blue ones are the first line. The red ones are for the second line. So give me a point for the blue line. Y equals negative x minus 1. What points can we plot?
-3, -3.
Negative 3, negative 3? Are you sure that one's on there? It's negative 3, negative 2.
Oh, I'm
Negative
looking
1,
at the
0.
wrong one.
Yeah. Negative 1, 0. So you gotta pick an x and then go with the y value. So negative 1, 0 works.
Mm-hmm.
Give me another one.
2,
Zero.
-3.
0 what?
0, -4.
No. You need
That's
2
for the
of the
second
blue.
line.
Don't touch the red yet. We're on Y1. So
0,
0,
-3.
0, negative 1 I heard. And then I also heard, what was the other one with negative 3?
2, -3.
2, negative 3. That will work too. It doesn't matter. But guys, you got to pick an x, and then you pick a y value that goes with it. Points are made up of x and y, not y and y. That doesn't make sense. Okay? So we've got 2 points. So again, all we do is we click on our graph, we come down here and select the line, and then we come up here and we plot negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. And then as soon as you plot those 2 points, the graph appears. Okay? All right, now let's go to our next line. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Give me 2 points for y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Now this is the x in the red column because that's the second equation. So give me 2 points.
-1, -4.
No, you're reading y and y. Guys, x,
Oh.
y.
2,
0, -1.
3.
0 what?
-3.
0 comma negative 3? No.
-1.
2. 2, -3.
2 comma negative 3. See, x, y. 2 comma negative 3. I like it. Now give me another one. Zach, give me another one because, hold on.
0,
4 negative 2 would work. Say
0,
it again, Zach.
-1. 0,
No.
No?
No, that's for y1. We are on y2, Zach.
Then 0,
2, the second equation, my man. 0 what?
-4.
There you go. Always an x, then a y. This is the first equation. See, it says y1,
Yeah, and then it flips.
number 1, and then this is your y2. Be careful of that. So 0, -4. Let's take those 2 points. So we've got 2, -3, and 0, -4. So 0, -4 is right here. 2, -3 is right here. And then we just grab and we graph. And that's what it looks like. Again, when you're graphing this, you're going to select the line and then use your graphing calculator to tell you 2 points to work with. Okay? If it helps, I know I put both of these lines on at the same time. If it helps, then only do one line at a time. So here's what that line looks like. Hit second, graph. There, it's less confusing. Okay? And then just go back into the y equal part, delete out that equation, and then graph the second one. Okay? X, and then it was -4. So there's the second equation, and you can hit second table, and there are your points. Okay, so graph them separately then, and then look to the graph and see where do they hit each other, because your MyMathLab graph should be pretty accurate. Okay, any question about number 3? Careful on the graphing. Okay, so number 4. They want to know which graph down below has no solution, A, B, C, or D.
D.
You got it. Why'd you choose D?
Is it? They never cross or intersect.
That's right, because what kind of lines are there?
Parallel.
Parallel. You got it. Just writing some things up. All right. So what I wrote up was that for a no solution, you select D because they're parallel lines. That's the symbol for parallel. All right, let's see what number 5 is. Number 5, cool, another short question. Say this one says, which system, okay, that has a solution of 1, -4? Which one has the solution 1, -4?
B.
Yay. See, nothing crazy there, right?
Nope.
All right. Moving on, number 6. Oh, another quick one. Which graph is a system that has infinite solutions?
C.
Which one?
B.
B. Why? Why is B the correct answer?
Because A and D intersect and C is a no solution.
You got it. Also, the reason why B is the infinite, because there's only one line. When you have only one line, that means the two equations were the same equation. That's why it looks like one line, because both lines lie on top of each other right there. Cool beans. Moving on. I am missing the equation for this. Decide whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. What is that doing? Let's
I
go
don't know,
look
I'm
up.
following along on
Oh.
MATLAB, and that one didn't show up.
Okay, actually, I see what happened. This number 6 does not need to be there because we already have a number 6 there. So that's just junk. So we're on number 7. So number 7 says solve the system. So we got the system of x equals 4y plus 3. And then we got 5x minus 20y equal to 15. So again, this is either going to be a one solution, an infinite solution, or a no solution. Let's see. What would you use to solve this equation?
You're gonna plug in x equals.
Hold on, Rochelle. Hold on, Rochelle. Let's see. Talk to me.
Substitution.
Yeah, absolutely. I would do substitution on this because it's already ready to go. We already know what x equals. So all we have to do is take this and plug it in, which is what Rochelle was getting us to. Okay? So substitution's ready to go. I would use substitution. So we're going to have 5. Oh, I see x. Let's plug in. So that's 4y plus 3, because that was x, minus 20y equal to 15.
Oh, I understand that.
So what do we do now? Zach, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we do now?
Multiply 5 with everything in the bracket.
That's right. Everything in the bracket, the parentheses. 5 times 4y is 20y. 5 times 3 is 15. Then minus 20y equal to 15. Now what?
The 20s cancel.
Which ones cancel?
The two 20Ys. Or the
Yeah,
nine.
these two get together and they cancel because they're like terms. So all that leaves us with is 15 equal to 15. What does that mean?
The solution is set of the system.
They don't. Well, they do intersect. Is it one time or
Infinity.
infinite? This is infinity. Whenever your variables cancel out and you have two numbers that are the same left, these are the same, then that means this is the infinite solution.
If it were Zach, if it were 0 equal to 15, it would stuck at the
Yeah. If they were different, then it would be a no solution. Like Rochelle said, like 0 equal to 15. But this is infinite. So that means, do we select A, B, or C? Let's go back in case you missed. Yeah, A, B, or C. Which one do we select?
C.
Which one?
B, right?
C.
B. Yeah. Don't select C. That means no solution. We said it has a solution. They are infinite. Remember, that's what B is. This is the infinite answer. Because both of these are this line. They're the same line. All right. Moving on. Another solve the system. So this time we've got 5x plus y equal to 19. And then we got x minus 2y equal to 6. All right, Lamar, how do you think we'll solve this system? What should we do?
The elimination method.
I would definitely do elimination on this. I would definitely do elimination. Now, do not get me wrong. You could actually do substitution on this. You could solve the bottom equation for x, or you could solve the top equation for y. But I think elimination is a little bit easier. Okay, so with that being said, Kiki, pick a variable. Because remember, with elimination, you have to make choices. Make sure you unmute yourself, Kiki.
My bad.
Who do you want to pick?
X.
All right, we always want to get rid of our x's. I don't know why.
Is that
All
a
right.
good choice or a bad choice?
No, it's fine. Now remember that there's a 1 in front of this x, and we got to turn these both into the same number. So what number can I turn 1 and 5 into? 5, yeah. From my peanut gallery, 5. It's going to be easy to make them 5s. All right, now which one should we make negative?
The bottom one.
Yes, let's go with the bottom one. Because if you notice, we already got the positive 5 for the top. So that means we won't have to do anything to the top equation because they already match. Let's make the bottom one negative. So you already see the top equation matches. So we're just going to rewrite it down. There's my top equation again. But now we got to multiply this equation. So what times 1 will give me the negative 5?
Negative 5.
Yeah. Just multiply that bottom equation by negative 5. Because negative 5 times 1x gives me negative 5x. We knew that was going to happen. Negative 5 times negative 2y, positive 10y. Uh-huh. And then negative 5 times the 6.
Negative 30.
Yepers. And then now what do we do?
You solve.
Okay, well, how do we solve? What are we going to do first before we solve?
The x are canceling out each other.
Okay, they go away. What do I get here?
11y.
Yes, we got to add down each column first. So x's go away. This gives us 11y. And over here, 19 minus 30.
11. And negative
11 as well?
Negative
Okay.
11.
Negative 11. Good. All right, so now how do I solve? How do we get the y by itself?
Divide each side by 11.
Divide each side by 11. I love it. So y is equal to?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. We now know what y is. We've got blank, comma, negative 1. So we know this is A, B, or C. Is this a one solution, infinite solution, or no solutions?
The solution.
So this is going to be an A. Okay? All we got to do is figure out the rest of this point. How do I do that? How do I figure out the x value? What are we going to do?
Plug it in.
Plug it in. And I always go back to one of the originals to plug in. So it doesn't matter which one we plug into. Let's see. Pick one, the top one or the bottom one. Which one you want to work with?
The
Bottom.
Top one. You got. So we got 5x plus my y. So my y value is negative 1. So plus a negative 1. Or if you want, you can just call this minus 1. It's the same thing. Equal to 19. All right. How do we solve this? How do I get rid of a negative 1?
You add it to.
Yeah. Add it. So we get 5x equal to 20. Then what?
Divide both sides by
5 on both sides.
There we go. You guys got it. Divide by 5, and we now find out that x is equal to
4.
4. Now you know the answer. 4 comma negative 1. Any questions on elimination? So you now have seen all 3 methods in action. All
I
3
did it the
methods. You did it what?
I did it the other way.
What, you got rid of the y's?
No, I plugged in.
Oh, you did substitution? Yeah, it should work. All these methods will come out to the same answer. Okie dokie artichoke. So we are on to, I believe, question number 9Z's. So 9 and 10, these are your word problems. Yeah. 9 and 10, these are your word problems. There's only 2. So remember that word problems come in one of 2 forms. They come at you like as in translations, where you have mathematical terms and we need to turn them into symbols, or they come at you as standard form because you have totals. Okay? So number 9 says that one number is is 8 less than a second number. 6 times the first is 6 more than 3 times the second. Find the numbers. So, what are we dealing with here? Is this a translation or is this standard form?
Translation?
Translation.
It's a translation.
It is a translation because you have all sorts of math words in here. Like the word is represents what math symbol?
Equal.
Equals. What does less than represent?
I don't remember.
What operation? Subtraction. That's right. Times is multiplication. You got all sorts of math words in here. So the first thing is we have a first number and a second number. Let's assign these variables. What variable would you give to the first number?
X.
Say it again.
X.
We can absolutely use X, but I want to be more specific so I don't really have to go back and refer to this. But X will work. Give me another variable.
Y, X and Y.
X and Y will work, but I want to use something more descriptive. Say it again. I think that was you, Zach.
F.
F. F for first. What variable can I use for the second number?
S.
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 Yeah. There's nothing wrong with X and Y, but I like to use the F and the S because I think it's more descriptive. And I know F stands for first and S stands for second. Real easy. Where if I had X and Y, then I might have to go back and look and be like, oh, X was the first number and Y was the second. All right, so let's take this first sentence because we got to get our equations. It says one number is 8 less than a second number. So let's translate this. Who is one number?
One number is F.
F. That's the first number. Is represents what?
Equal.
Equals. Now, we have this less than, and this is the one that I've warned you guys to be careful on. So this says 8 less than a second number. What does that look like?
S minus 8.
You got it. It is S minus 8. Remember that with less than, it's written backwards. This comes second, this comes first. It's backwards. So if you put 8 minus S, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. So there's one of our equations. That's the first one. All right, let me go back. I'm going to write down the next sentence. So it says 6 times the first is 6 more than 3 times the second. Okay. So let's translate this. So here it says 6 times the first. What does that look like?
6F.
6S. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. You said F.
F.
Sorry. F. So 6F. Easy fix there. I'll let that dry for just a second. Is represents
Say it again.
is represents what?
Equal.
Equal.
Equals. So 6F equals, now this says 6 more than 3 times the second. So what does that look like? 6 more than 3 times the second.
Yes.
So there's 3 times the second.
Yeah.
3s.
Plus 6.
You got it. That's what it looks like. If you also have 6 plus 3s, that'll work. Because again, remember when I talked to you guys with addition, it doesn't matter how we add. 2 plus 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 2. Okay? But this is what it really represents mathematically. This is the correct form. So now we have our 2 equations. F equals S minus 8. The hard part is done. And 6F equals 3S plus 6. What's a good method to use to solve this?
Substitution.
Substitution, absolutely. Because we already know that F is equal to S minus 8. All we got to do, plug it in. So let's do that. So we got 6 times F, which is S minus 8, equal to 3S plus 6. So how are we going to solve this first? So we're going to definitely, I'm going to put substitution out here. That's the method I would use. It's the easiest. What should we do now?
Get rid of the brackets.
Get rid of the brackets. So we're going to take the 6 and we're going to distribute it through. What is 6 times S?
Yes.
6S. What's 6 times negative 8?
Negative 48.
Negative 48. Okay. And then over here, we still have 3S plus 6. Okay, what do we do now?
Can either bring over the bring over the 6s or
Yeah, you got it, Rochelle. We got to get our variables all on
You
one
need to bring over
side.
one of
So,
them.
yeah, that's right. So we either move the 6S over here, or we take the 3S and move it to the other side. I'll let Rochelle go ahead. Tell us what we want to do with this then.
minus
You want to
negative,
move the 6 minus who?
subtract negative 3s on both sides.
Yeah, I always like to move my variables over here to the left. So 6 minus 3 gives us 3s minus 48 equal to 6. Now what?
That's 48 on both sides.
Okay. So 3s equals 48 plus 6.
54.
Okay. And now what do we do?
Divide
Divide.
both sides by 3.
Okay. So s is equal to
18.
18. So now we know what the second number is. It is 18. How do we get the first number?
Oh, you plug it in.
Plug it in. Okay, Kiki, which one do you want to plug into? The top one or the bottom one? I go back to the originals.
The top.
The top. Fabulous. So F equals S, which is 18 minus 8. So what does F equal?
10.
10. And there you go. There's the first number, and there's the second number. That's what they want. Everyone good?
Yep.
Okie dokie artichokes. Number 10, the last word problem. Yay. All right, this one is one of those mixture problems. Okay, so this one says, how many quarts of 6% butterfat milk and 3% butterfat milk should be mixed to yield 60 quarts of 5% butterfat milk? So what is this? Is this a translation or is this standard form?
Standard.
If I remember,
Standard.
this is definitely standard because we have two totals. What are the totals?
Percentage?
One of the percentages is the total. So which percentage are you talking about?
Is
Total?
it 6% and 2% are the totals?
Careful. It's not 6. You only got one total, silly.
It's just 6.
5% is a total.
Okay.
Okay. And what's the other total?
3%.
The 60.
The quantity?
These are your totals right here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about those in just a second. So, but before, I want to talk about our variables. We got a 6% butterfat milk. We've got a 3% butterfat milk. Other than X and Y, because again, I like to be descriptive, what variable do you think we should assign 6% butterfat milk?
F.
S. You got it for 6. What percentage should we assign the 3% butterfat milk?
T.
T. T for 3. Very good variables. Put a little tail on that so we know it's a T. Okay. So we already know that one of our totals was 60%. Or sorry, not percent, 60 quarts. And the other one dealt with the 5%. But remember, when we go into a problem, we can't put in 5%. We have to put the percents in as what?
Decimal.
Decimals.
Percents must be decimals. So what is 5% as a decimal?
0.05.
0.05. Now, when we do this part, we actually want 5% of the 60. So when you're dealing with the mixture problems, to get that second total, you take your percentage times the other total. The total percentage times the total quarts. Okay, that's where your two totals come from. One of them is the quarts, and the other one is the percentage times the quarts. That's your two totals. All right, now, let's talk about how we're going to write these equations. So, we've already used the 60 and we've already used the 5%. You're not going to touch those again. They're done. So my only other two numbers are 6% and 3%. Which equation are those going to go for? The quarts or the one where we use the percentage in the quarts?
The both of them?
The what?
The both of them?
Say that again, Rochelle. I'm not picking you up.
I'm asking if
Say it again.
asking if the both of them you're talking.
The both of them? That's what I'm hearing. It sounds like you're saying
both
the
of
The both of them?
oh, the both of them.
Both of them.
No, it can't go to both. They only go to one. So
I say
do you think
three.
you say it a what?
I say 3.
3? No, I'm asking which equation though. Is it the top equation or the bottom equation? Where are we going to use the percentages?
The
With
bottom.
the top one? The bottom one. What gives it away that I would put percentages down here?
Because you have the 0.05.
Right there. I use percentage right over here. So it only makes sense that these two numbers are going to be involved in the bottom one. Okay? So,
You're frozen.
oh, I'm frozen?
Keep on freezing. Maybe
Can
it's
you guys
my
hear-
internet.
Can you guys hear me or am I okay?
No, you're
Oh,
fine.
maybe it's my internet. I'm just
Okay.
telling you that you're frozen.
No worries. Keep me informed, Michelle. Just be careful. So we're going to put the percentages down here because we use the percentage right here. It only makes sense that we're going to put percentages with other percentages. So how am I going to take the 6% in this variable s? What would that look like?
You're gonna turn them into a decimal.
So what would 6% look like a decimal?
0.06.
So
S.
0.06 s. There we go. So we got a 0.06 s. How does the 3% and the t look in my equation?
The same.
The same, 0.06 s?
No,
0.03
0.03 T.
There you go. What operation goes between these two?
Add.
Yes. Because we're mixing these together
Yeah,
to
add.
become that. It is add. All right. So now if we go back to our information, we've used all the numbers. Every number has been used. So how do I make the last equation up here?
Use the variables.
Yeah. What does that look like then?
S plus T.
Yep. Once you've used all the numbers, it's just the variables to make the other guy, if you still have to make an equation. So it's just s plus t.
Do you ever get like S minus T?
No. Well, I mean, it's possible, but for us, it's going to be plus because we're mixing. We're putting stuff together. So what method would we use to solve this?
Substitution.
Substitution will work, but I don't want to use substitution.
Evaluation.
Elimination.
Elimination, not evaluation, but elimination. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Who do you want to eliminate?
Mhm.
The S. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the S's. So I've got a 1 and I've got a 0.6. What number can I turn these both into?
0.06.
The 0.06. Change it into the 0.06. So I need to know, let's see, who do you want to be negative? The bottom one or the top one?
The top.
Very good. Because you already have the bottom one that matches. All we have to do is manipulate the top. So the bottom equation already matches. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And let's go ahead and multiply. What is 0.05 times 60?
Three.
3.
3? Perfect. All right. So now, the top one. What times 1 will give us the negative 0.06?
0.06.
Yeah, negative. Just multiply it by negative 0.06. So negative 0.06 times 1 gives us what we knew was going to happen. Negative 0.06 times t gives us what? Oops.
Negative
Probably should-
0.06.
Negative 0.06.
Yeah, negative 0.06 t. I'm just going to turn that into a minus already. So 0.06 t. And what is negative 0.06 times 60?
3.6.
Negative 3.6.
Negative 3.6.
All right. So now what are we going to do?
Solve.
We're going to what?
Solve.
How do we solve? What do we got to do first?
You get rid of the S. It's
Because what are we doing? Why do they cancel out? What are we doing downward?
Subtracting.
No, you're adding.
Adding.
You're adding down. That's why they cancel out. Okay. What's negative 0.06 plus 0.03?
Negative 0.03.
Negative 0.03.
There we go.
T.
Negative 0.03 t equal to what's negative 3.6 plus 3?
Negative 0.6.
There you go.
I wrote that.
And then now what do we do?
Divide by 0.03.
Okay, divide by negative 0.03, divide by negative 0.03, and t is equal to
20. I don't like work with that.
20. There we go. So now you know that for the 3% butterfat milk, we need 20 quarts. How do we get the 6% butterfat milk?
We plug it in.
Plug it in. So let's go. Lamar, who do you want to plug into? The top one or the bottom one?
Top.
The top one, absolutely. That's the easiest one to plug into. So we've got S plus 20 equal to 60. Oops, sorry, couldn't see that part. So S plus 20 equal to 60. How do we solve for S?
Divide minus both sides by 20.
Yay. So how many do we need of S?
40.
40. So we've got 40 quarts. And there you go. We need 40 quarts of 6%, and we need 20 quarts of 3%. Any questions? Those are your word problems. What's up, Rochelle?
But it's still equal to the 60. It's just that one has more.
Yeah. 40 plus 20 is still the 60. Absolutely. Okay. All right.
We're gonna just go.
Number 11. We're almost done with the systems. Number 11 and 12 are finish up our systems because that's where we do the inequality work. So 11 and 12 are all about graphing. And this is where we're going to have the shading as well. So number 11, we got x plus 6y greater than negative 24. Okay. So let me draw my little graph here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, just drawing my graphs real quick. Okay. So definitely want to use my calculator for this. So that way I know what I'm looking at. Okay. Can this go into my calculator right now the way it is?
No.
No. So what do we have to do with my x plus 6y greater than negative 24? What do we got to do with that? Because what form
Move
does it have to be in?
X, slope.
Move the x. There we go. Yeah, we got to put it in slope intercept. We got to get the y by itself. So how do I move a positive x?
You subtract it.
Okay. Minus x minus x. So we have 6y greater than what? It's over here on the right side.
Negative x minus 24 plus
Okay.
negative 24.
All right. Now what do we do? Because we're not done yet. We got one more step.
Divide both sides by 6.
There you go. So we're going to divide all of our numbers by 6. And remember that there's a negative 1 that's right there. So y is greater than the fraction negative 1/6. Does it reduce any or change any?
No.
No. So it stays negative 1/6. What's negative 24 divided by 6?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. And I think I heard that one earlier. Just we weren't ready for that negative 4 just yet. So now we can put this in our calculator. Okay. Now, when we go to our calculator, we can answer a couple questions now. When we go to our graph or calculator, what kind of line is this going to be? Is this going to be solid or dotted?
Solid.
It's going to be solid. Why?
Because that's fine. Sorry.
Anyone want to offer a different opinion?
It's going to be dotted
Why is it dotted, Zach?
because it's not greater than or equal to on the bottom.
It's not equal to. There is no line on the bottom. When you have no equal to, it is a dotted line. When I go to my calculator, will I choose a top triangle or a bottom triangle? Say it again.
Top.
Top. Because we are greater than. When you are greater than, you choose the top triangle. Okay. Now remember, our calculator will not graph solid or dotted, but when we go into the My Math Lab, it will. Okay. So we go to our calculator, we hit the y equal part, and we need to change this out. So first I come over here, I scroll all the way to the left to my line symbol, and I hit enter, and we scroll down to the line, and I scroll to the right. There's my top triangle I need. Scroll down and hit OK. Now I come over and put in my equation. We already talked about where the fraction is, so I'm going to hit negative alpha y equals. I'm going to put 1 over 6. Scroll out to the right, hit my x, and then minus 4. There's our equation. If I hit graph, that's what I need to get into My Math Lab. And this line down here should be dotted. So this is what we got to put into My Math Lab. Okay? So let's talk about My Math Lab real quick and what's going to happen. So the moment you click on the graph, you've got your toolbar down here. Okay? You got your select tool with the arrow. You've got your line tool. And you've got your quadratic tool, so on and so forth. And then you come to the solid line or dotted line choosing. And then it's either before it or after it. I can't remember where it comes. Then you got the paint bucket. Okay, you got your little paint bucket tool. And then you've got your clear and delete. Clear, delete. All right, whatever. Okay. So, how am I going to get this picture here onto my math lab here? What are we going to do?
So you plot the points first, and then you click the bucket.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about that. Where do I get the points then?
The table.
There we go, just like before. Hit second graph, and here's our table. All right. So what's one point that would be easy to graph as I kind of flip through here?
0.
0, -4.
So we're going to select 0, -4. Okay. You see another one?
6, -5.
Let's do 6, -5 then. If I went the other way, there would probably be one at -6. Yeah, -6, -3. That would also be a viable point too if you wanted. Okay. So we got our points. Let's go back to my graph. So I click. Now what am I going to do? What am I going to do down here?
Point. Select
So-
the point.
Select the line tool. Okay. Then what else should I select?
The line, the dotted
The dotted line. Because
dotted
we
line.
need to make sure that it's dotted. That's important. So you select your line tool, select dotted, and then now, what can we do?
Graph.
Graph. So we plot 0, -4, and we plot 6, -5. And this guy would, another one, just to kind of help me graph a little bit, would have been 6, -3. And then my line would show up dotted like this. And then what do we do?
You plot the next one.
We've already got it plotted. Our line's there. Now what do we do?
You shade.
How do I shade?
You press the paint button.
Grab the paint bucket, and then do we go above or below? Let's refresh your memory real quick.
Above.
There's the graph. And so Lamar, I agree with you. So we come back here, select the paint bucket, and click above. And so your paint bucket will appear with your little handle, and all this now gets shaded. And that's what they're looking for. That's the graph they want. Okay? The next problem, number 12, is the exact same idea, except this time we have 2 of them. Okay? So here's our next one. We've got the system y less than 3x minus 5. And we also have y less than or equal to x plus 5. Okay? Are these equations ready to go into my calculator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let me write something down and let me put in some information real quick. Get my graph going. Six. 2, 1, and 2. Okay, here we go. All right. So before I go to my calculator, is this going to be solid or dotted?
Dotted.
Dotted.
Okay. Top triangle or bottom triangle?
Bottom.
Bottom.
Oh.
Nope, bottom. It's a less than. This line right here, y less than or equal to x plus 5. Dotted or solid?
Solid.
Solid. Top triangle or bottom triangle?
Bottom.
Bottom.
Bottom. It is less than again. Okay. So now we know what to do. And I'm going to graph this one line at a time. Okay? And when I do this one, I'm not going to worry about the shading yet. So I hit y equals, I hit clear a couple times, that clears everything out. So I'm going to scroll over and pick my bottom triangle line. So I scroll over to the line, hit enter, scroll down the line, scroll to the right. There's my bottom triangle. Hit OK. Then I'm going to come over here and put in my equation. 3x minus 5. So there's what it looks like. And remember, again, this line will be dotted. Okay, now, with that being said, I need 2 points from this, right? Where do I go to find those points?
The table.
Yeah. Second graph to the table. All right, give me 2 points.
0, -5.
0, -5 is good.
4, 7.
And 4, 7. Okay. We'll graph those 2 points. And of course, you would choose 7. I gotta expand my graph, jerk. Wouldn't go for the small ones. Okay. All right. So what I would do is I would come to my math lab. Okay. And you know that we got our little toolbar down here with the selector tool, our line tool, quadratic tool, blah, 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 blah. And then you got your 2 lines, solid and dotted. And then we got our paint bucket. And then you've got your delete and clear. So what I would do is I would come down here, select my line, select dotted, and plot my 2 points. 0, -5, which is right there. No, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nope, I was right. There's 0, -5. Gosh, what am I doing? Losing my mind sometimes. This bottom point is not really correct. So there's 0, -5. And then we're going to plot the other point, 4, 7, because you said to plot 4, 7. 4, 7. And this would be dotted. And I do not shade yet. I leave the shading in the end. Okay? So now we go to the next equation. So we put in, it's a bottom triangle. I don't have to change that. And it's x plus 5. Delete that last little guy out. There's what it looks like graphically. And provide me 2 points.
1, 6.
1, 6. Okay.
0,
0 what?
5.
Okay. So I go into my math lab. I click my line. I click on solid. And I come up and I plot 1, 6. And 0, 5. Now this isn't going to be the greatest of graphs, but it will look somewhat like this. Okay? Now we do the shading. So notice my lines, they do and kind of pass through right up here. Kind of spreading that out a little bit more for you so you can see that. So we have 4 areas. We have a top, we have a left area, a down area, and a right area. This is where we figure out where to shade because we're only going to put the paint bucket in one of these 4 areas. So this is where I go to my graph now and I put both equations in. So I've already got the second one. I'm just going to come down here and put the first one in. So grab this guy, scroll down, change it to the bottom triangle, hit OK. Then scroll out to the right and hit my 3x minus 5. So here's what the graph really should look like. So my question to you is, and you don't necessarily see it, but it is crossing right up there. Let me do this real quick. Let me scale this out some. Let's fix the max. Let's go out to 20. So there's what it looks like. So you can see the left side, the bottom side, the right side, and the top. Where is my shading bucket going to go?
At the top.
And at where at?
The bottom right.
Yeah,
Where
the
it
bottom
overlaps.
right in here, where it is purple. Okay. You want where it overlaps, both of them. So it goes right here. Because this area is just the red. This area is just the blue. None of it is in this area. This is where they both happen. So when I go into my math lab, I grab my paint bucket and I select anywhere in here. So I hit my paint bucket and this is where it shades. Nowhere else. Cool beans? Okay. Systems, all done. Questions 1 through 12 are all about systems. Okay? So 13 is your long division problem, and then the rest of this is factoring. So in 13, you're going to have your long division problem, and then everything from 14 all the way through 20 is factoring. Okay? So here's our problem. 8x cubed minus 4x squared minus 14x plus 3 divided by 2x minus 1. Okay. When we do long division, what goes under here?
8x cubed.
Okay. That it?
Minus 4x squared.
Okay. That it?
Minus 14 plus 3.
14x plus 3. And is that okay? Do I have everybody in standard form? And am I missing anything?
No.
No. So it's good to go. This is in standard form. 3, 2, 1, none. All right. And it's in, we're not missing anything because I counted every number. 3, 2, 1, none. See? Normal counting. What goes out front then?
2x minus 1.
Is it in standard form?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's not missing anything because it goes 1 and none. Okay. So long division. Who are we trying to get rid of first? What term are we looking to eliminate?
8x cubed.
The 8x cubed. Who's in charge of all the elimination?
2x minus 1.
Not the minus 1 part, but the 2x. It's going to be the guide that gets us through everything. So step 1, how do we eliminate this? So what times 2x will give us 8x cubed?
4x. Where?
So look, 4x what?
Where?
Squared. All right. So we're going to take this 4x squared, and what are we going to multiply?
2x minus 1.
2x minus 1. All right. So 4x squared times 2x is 8x cubed. That's no surprise. What is 4x squared times the negative 1?
Negative 4x squared.
Okay. And so now what are we going to do?
Cross out.
We're going to subtract down. So you already know these two will cancel out. But let's take a look at what we got here. We've got negative 4x squared. I always like to write down the second piece. Minus a negative 4x squared. So what does that give us?
Cancel out.
It cancels out as well. So we've got nothing left here. So what do we do with this piece? The negative 14x plus 3.
Bring it down.
Bring it on down like Tetris. Da, na, 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 na. No, 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 no. Done. All right. And repeat. So who are we getting rid of now?
Negative 4.
14.
The negative 14x.
Negative 14.
So we got to know what times 2x gives us negative 14x.
Negative 7.
Negative 7. So we're going to take the negative 7 times what?
2x minus 1.
All right. So we know negative 7 times 2x gives us the negative 14x. What is negative 7 times negative 1?
Plus 7.
Plus 7. And now we subtract down. So we know that the x's cancel out. What is 3 minus 7?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay. And now you know the answer. So in the blank, you'll type 4x squared minus 7. And you have a remainder here. So you'll put a plus and then negative 4 all over 2x minus 1. Or because this is negative right here, if you wanted to, you could change the plus sign in front to a minus and say that this is minus 4 over 2x minus 1. It's your call. So there you go. And no, it's not multiple choice. So you actually have to fill it in. Any questions over the long division? Okay. Now, factoring. The factoring goes the same way that you watched for my class on the videos. It starts with GCF, it goes to grouping, then you hit trinomials, then you hit difference of squares, and you end with cubic. Okay? So the factoring goes in order of the way that you should have learned it, at least in Mr. Armstrong's class. So we've got this 9x to the 8th minus 27x to the 7th plus 63x to the 6th. The directions give you a nice little hint here. It says factor out the GCF. Okay? So, remember GCFs come in one of two forms, and there are two questions you should ask yourself. First, you're going to look at the numbers, 9, 27, and 63. Is there a number that divides all of these, 9, 27, and 63?
9.
Say it again, Rochelle.
9.
9. So we're going to pull out a 9 because 9 divides all those. That's a GCF. Now, the other question you ask is about variables. Do all of these have a common variable?
X.
They
Yes,
all have
it's X,
X's.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they all have X's. So how many X's can we pull out, though?
1.
Even more than that.
6.
6.
We can pull out 6. Look for the smallest power on that variable. The smallest power is 6. Each one of these can cover 6 and be just fine. So this right here is what we call the GCF. So now we're going to write down what's left.
I have a question.
I have an answer. Go.
In high school, there was a teacher that told me that we had to add the exponents together. I don't think that was right.
Not for GCF, but they
Okay.
may have had some sort of little trick that they like to do.
Mhm.
So
No, because he told me when we were doing GCF that we had to add the what's it called again? I just literally forgot what they're called. The exponents.
the exponents. Well, I'll show you what I think he probably might have meant, but with the exponents, not. I mean, in a way, there's adding, but really, what's going on is subtracting because we want to take away
Okay.
from these
Also,
guys.
he wasn't a very good teacher. He wasn't a very good teacher, so it's okay.
Oh,
I had all
okay.
bad teachers during high school, but that's fine. I just had a question.
No judgment from there. All right. So, let us continue on. So, what is 9 divided by 9?
1.
1.
1. So you can either write the 1, but you don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and put the 1 there. It doesn't matter. So this guy had $8. We took 6 of his dollars. How much does he have left?
2.
2. So there's an x squared there. There were 8 x's. I took 6 of them. So that's x squared that's left. So kind of, I think what you're getting at, Nicole, I mean, technically there is adding, because if I distribute this back through, 6 plus 2 is 8. But when you're factoring, you're really subtracting from this number.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So what's negative 27 divided by 9?
-3.
Okay. This guy had $7. We took 6. How many dollars are left?
X.
1.
1. So you can put x, or you can put x to the first. It doesn't really matter because there really is x to the first that's left because 7 minus 6 is 1.
So, like,
What's-
even on our test, we could put the 1 at the top.
Absolutely, if you wanted to. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Normally, though, as mathematicians, we don't write this 1 and we don't write that 1. We, as mathematicians, we understand that it is known that they are there. All right, what's 63 divided by 9?
Is it?
Let's do 7.
Plus 7?
Yeah.
Now, this guy had $6. We took his $6. Any x's left?
No.
So don't put any x's there because we took all of his money. If you take all of someone's money, they don't have any left. That right there is what we call the completely factored answer. Because we pulled up the GCF and you have written down what's left. And that's all they wanted. Everyone good?
Yep.
All right. Number 15. This one is all about grouping. And I believe the directions say to group it. Yep, grouping. So all grouping is just a giant GCF problem, as I've talked to you guys about,
Number 15.
or as you have watched in the video. So we're going to take AC plus 2A minus 3C minus 6 and perform grouping. So in grouping, step number 1 is to group, hence why we call this grouping. We're going to group the first 2 together with parentheses, and you're going to group the last 2 together with parentheses. That's step 1. Step 2, we're going to pull out a GCF in both of these parentheses. See, it's just a giant GCF problem. So what do these terms have in common? AC and 2A.
A.
They both have an A. So we're going to pull out A. And what's that going to leave me with?
C plus.
C plus 2. Because all we did was take the A and pull it out of it. Okay? Now, what's cool about grouping is that whatever this parenthesis is, whatever I pull out of here, whatever GCF comes out of here, it has to leave me with the same parenthesis. This has to be C plus 2. has to be. So all you have to do is think, well, what times C will get me back to the negative 3C?
Negative
What?
3.
Yeah, negative 3, right? And then you can easily check this answer. If I take negative 3 times 2, does that give me negative 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is correct then. Whatever this first parenthesis is, it has to match the second one 100%. So just think to yourself, what times C gives me the negative 3C? You said negative 3, and then I just checked to make sure that that's still negative 6. Negative 3 times 2 is still negative 6. And now you've got one more step. All we're going to do is make our two parentheses. In the first parenthesis, write down the GCFs. So what were the GCFs in order?
A minus
A
3.
minus 3. Okay? If this was a positive 3, we would have put A plus 3. Okay? The second parenthesis goes the repeat. So what parenthesis repeated?
C plus 2.
Congratulations, you have factored by grouping.
Can C go first too, or it doesn't matter the order?
So the order of your parentheses, let's talk about that. So I've got A minus 3 and then C plus 2. I could have had C plus 2 and then A minus 3. It doesn't matter. Because just
Okay.
like addition, multiplication, it doesn't matter how you multiply. 2 times 3 is going to be the same answer as 3 times 2.
Okay.
So A minus 3, C plus 2, same thing as saying C plus 2, A minus 3. All right, almost done. 5 more questions. All right, so 16. We are now going to jump into trinomials. So we've got x squared plus 3x minus 4. So in the videos that I gave you, there are really 4 methods you can do to factor this. You can do guess and check. That's what our book does. So if you learn from the book, it's guess and check. The main video where I taught factoring is I do the AC method. Then underneath that method, there are 2 other ones, the box and slide and divide. Okay? So most professors teach AC and slide and divide. So those are going to be the 2 methods I show on this. So let's start with the AC method. Come on, you. So the AC method, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to tell me the A, B, and C. Remember that A is the number in front of the x squared, B is the number in front of x, and C is the number that's by itself. So what number is A, B, and C? These should not be variables, numbers. What's A?
1,
A is 1, B is what?
3,
3, C is what?
4,
Negative 4.
negative.
Negative 4. We want the sign with it. Okay. So the next step is you're going to play the X games. So on top here goes A times C, and then the bottom goes your B. So we're going to take A times C. What's 1 times negative 4?
Negative 4.
So my top number is negative 4. What number was my B?
3.
3. So the game is you need to find 2 numbers that add to 3 and multiply to negative 4. The key to this is look at the factors of your top number. Don't worry about if it's positive or negative. Our top number is 4. What times what gives me 4?
2 times 2.
2 times 2, and there's another one.
1 times 4.
1 times 4. These are the factors of 4. Okay? somewhere in here, by adding, we can get a 3. Okay? So now this is where you can put in negatives if you need to. So like for instance, if I take 2 plus 2, is that 3?
No.
No. What if I make the first 2 negative? Is negative 2 plus 2 3?
No.
No. Okay, well, what if I make the second 2 negative? Is 2 plus a negative 2 3?
No.
No. What if they're both negative? What's a negative 2 plus a negative 2? Is that 3?
Negative
No.
4.
No. So obviously we know that these two are not going to work. But let's come up here. 1 plus 4, is that 3?
No.
No. Well, what if the 1 is negative? Is negative 1 plus 4 3?
Negative 3.
Is negative 1 plus 4 3?
Yes.
Yes. You have found the numbers. Because if you look at this, negative 1 plus 4 is 3. And what's negative 1 times 4?
Negative 4.
4.
Negative 4. You have won the game.
Yay.
Okay. Now we got to move on. So the third step in grouping is you're going to create, the third step in the AC method is you're going to make grouping happen. You're going to turn it into a grouping problem. So you're going to keep the beginning and the end the same. So my first term is x squared. My last term was negative 4. The beginning and the end stay the same. In the middle, go what we found, our 2 special numbers. So you got minus 1x, and you got a positive 4x. Again, it doesn't matter the order of these. I could put the 4x first, the plus 4x, and then the minus 1x. It doesn't matter the order. Okay? So the beginning and the end stay the same, and in the middle go the 2 numbers you found from the X games. And now all this is grouping, what you just did. So what comes out of here?
X.
X. What does that leave me with?
X minus 1.
X minus 1. Again, because of grouping, this next parenthesis has to be X minus 1. Okay, so what times X will give me 4X?
4.
4, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. So you'll put plus 4. And then now we write out our 2 parentheses. So what goes in my first parenthesis?
X plus 4.
X plus.
X plus 4. What goes in the second parenthesis?
X minus 1.
And there you go. You have now completely factored. Again, we could have X minus 1 and then X plus 4. It doesn't matter. All right. That was the AC method. Let me show you slide and divide real quick, because those are the 2 most common methods most students like to use. So slide and divide. The first thing you're going to do is what we call the slide step. So the slide step, what you're going to do is you're going to take the A value, which is 1, and you're going to slide and multiply it by the C value. So we're going to slide, and this means to multiply. Right there. So what's 1 times negative 4?
Negative 4.
Yeah. All right. Now you play the X games again. So nothing's changed. I'm just going to write down everything that we already know. In the top, you've got negative 4. In the bottom, you've got the B. and which is 3, and you already know the numbers have to be -1 and a +4. All right. Now, in slide and divide, you don't do grouping. What you do is you go straight to your parentheses, and you're going to start with an X, and then all you do over here is you put your two numbers you found. -1, a +4.
Yeah, that's way easier.
And that will be the final answer. And we stop here because as long as your A is 1, you can stop at this point. If our A value was not 1, we would have done the divide step. Okay? And in the divide step, you would have divided each one of these numbers by 1 or by whatever A was. In our case, if we actually did the divide step, it would look like this, just so you know. When your A is equal to 1, stop at parentheses. Because the divide step, which is this, x minus 1 divided by 1, because that was our A, and x plus 4 divided by 1, because that was our A. Is that going to change my numbers any? What's 1 divided by 1?
-1.
Still the same thing. What's 4 divided by 1?
4.
See, it didn't change anything. That's why you can stop at the parenthesis, because the divide step it doesn't change anything. It's fine. So this is called slide and divide. Same answer. All right. I think we are at number 17. Okay. So we've got 10x squared minus 21x plus 9. So this time I'm going to do slide and divide first, and then I'll do the AC method. So that way you can actually see slide and divide in full effect. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, divide method. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slide, because notice A is not 1 this time. So this is where you're going to see that. So we slide over, and that's going to give us x squared minus 21x. What's 10 times 9?
90.
90. All right, now tell me, what are the A, B, and C's? What's your A value?
1,
1.
1. What's your B value?
21,
-21.
Negative 21.
21,
What's your C value?
90.
90. So we play the X games. A times C is on top, your B is on bottom. So if I take 1 times 90, that's still 90. My B value is negative 21. So let's look at the factors of 90. What times what gives me 90?
10 times 9.
10 times 9. Let's start at the beginning, though. Start me easy. 1 times what?
90.
90. Does 2, can I multiply something by 2 to get 90?
Two times 45.
2 times 45. What about 3?
3 times 30.
3 times 30. Okay. What about, does 4 work?
No.
No. 5.
18. 5 times 18.
Okay. 6.
15.
6 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
7.
No.
8.
No.
9.
10.
And that's where you're going to stop, because notice as these numbers increase, these numbers decrease. And it's like they're kind of coming in on each other. Okay. And the moment they get right next to each other, you stop. Because if you go to 10, you're just going to get right back to the same one that you just had. So somewhere in here, there are two numbers that can add to a negative 21 and multiply to a positive 90. Who does it?
6 and 15
How do the 6 and 15 give me a negative 21?
is negative 6 and negative 15.
There you go. Negative 6 plus a negative 15 is a negative 21. And negative 6 times negative 15 is a positive 90. Okay. So now we set up our parentheses.
They're both going
X.
to be negative?
Yes, they both have to be negative. Because a negative 6 and a negative 15 will give us a negative 21 when you add those together. And when you take a negative times a negative, that's a positive.
Okay.
So we set up our parentheses, which look like this. But because A is not 1 in the beginning, this is where we're going to do that divide. So this is the divide piece. We're going to take 6 divided by 10 because that was my A. We're going to take 15 divided by 10 because that was my A. And now we need to reduce these fractions. So what does 6 over 10 reduce to?
0.6.
No decimal. I got to have the fraction.
Oh.
3 over 5.
3 over 5. What does 15 over 10 reduce to?
5.
No.
No, sorry.
3 over 5.
3 over 5, yeah.
No.
Three over 2.
3 over 2.
3 over 2. There you go. All right. And since these are still fractions, you're going to do one more slide. We're going to take our denominators here, and we're going to shift it in front of the X. So in the end, our parentheses are 5x minus 3 and 2x minus 3. And that's the answer. That's slide and divide in all its glory. So in the end, when you reduce your fractions, if you still have a denominator, shift it or slide it in front of the x's in the front. Any questions on slide and divide? Let me show you the AC method to 17, and then we will move on. Okay. So the AC method. So here, tell me A, B, and C, which we know are 10, negative 21, and 9. You still play the same X games. So the top number is 90 because it's A times C. The bottom number is negative 21 because that's your B. You look at the factors of 90, which are 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and, oh gosh, wasn't that 8? No, not 18. 3 and, oh my God, why am I blanking? 30. 4, I don't think worked. Nope. It was 5 and 18, 6 and 15, and then 9 and 10. And again, you still have the same answers, -6 and -15. Now, this is where AC differs from slide and divide. Because remember, now we set up grouping. So we keep the beginning and the end the same. So we start with 10x squared, leave some space, and you end with +9. And remember, now all we do is we take these two numbers that we found in the X games and we put them in the middle. It doesn't matter which order you go in. So I'm just going to put -6x and -15x. And now you just do grouping. So parentheses, what's going to come out of the first parenthesis? What's in common in here?
X.
X. What else?
2x.
2, because 2 can divide both of these numbers. So if I pull that out, what do we got left? What's 10 divided by 2?
5x.
5 and x, because there were $2, we took $1, so 5x. What's -6 divided by 2?
3. -3.
-3, and there was 1x and we took the x, so no more x's. So again, in grouping, remember, this has to match whatever happens over here. So what times 5x will give me the -15x?
-3.
And -3 times a -3 is a +9, so it checks. And so now all you have to do is tell me the two parentheses. Come on, give me my two parentheses. You already know the answer.
2x minus 3.
Yepers.
5x minus 3.
There it is. Same answer that we got with slide and divide, just a different method. I don't care what method you do on your exam, and neither will your professor. Pick your method. Okay, let's wrap this up. Last few problems should be a little bit faster for us because they're not trinomials anymore. So number 18, you get hit up with two terms. So 6w squared minus 25. And then 19 and 20 are cubics. All right. So again, you can turn this into 3 terms and factor it. You're just missing the middle term, which would be what we call a 0 term. So that's what it looks like as 3 terms. So if you want to go back to the AC and the slide and divide method, you absolutely can. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a faster way to do this because this is what we call a difference of squares. So in the difference of squares, all you're going to do is take the square root of each one of these. So we're going to square root the first term. And we're going to square root the second term. Because when you have a difference of squares, it factors to a plus b, a minus b. So when you take the square root of the first term, this is going to tell you what A is. When you take the square root of the second term, that's going to tell you what B is. And then you just fill in your formula. So what is the square root of 36W squared?
6W.
6W. Because remember on your calculator, your square root button, oh, let's clear all that out of there. Your square root button, you hit X or second. Let me get out of there. Second X squared, and there's your square root button. Or you could click on math, and you can go down to number 5. And then you just put a 2 in the blank. And then now you can put in the 36, because the square root of 36 is 6. And then as we have talked about before, if you are taking the square root of something squared, they just cancel each other out, leaving you with the W. All right, what's the square root of 25?
5.
5. All we got to do now is fill in our parentheses. One's a plus, one's a minus. So what is my A value?
6W.
6.
What's my B value?
5.
What's my A value?
6.
W. What's my B value?
Oh.
5.
Done.
no. Oh, no, that's yeah.
You just fill in. And that's it. Number 19, our cubic factoring, yay. So you got to make sure that you remember the formulas. So 19, we've got 27x cubed plus 8y cubed. And then I'm going to write down number 20. 20 is w cubed minus 125. Make sure that you watch your variables too. If they change them up to w's, you got to make sure that you use w's. So remember with cubics, there are 2 formulas. There's what we call the sum
And then
of cubes and the difference of cubes. When you have the sum of cubes, oops, that should be a B, not an A. Its formula is parenthesis A plus B, parenthesis, and then parenthesis A squared minus AB plus B squared. When you have a difference of cubes, you got A cubed minus B cubed. And its formula looks a lot like the sum. The only difference is this plus becomes a minus and this minus becomes a plus. That's the only difference between these 2 formulas, is where this plus and minus are located. So difference of cubes, your first parenthesis A minus B, your second parenthesis becomes A squared plus AB plus B squared. The only difference is where the minus and the plus are located. So, which one of these are we dealing with? Is this a sum or a difference?
Sum.
So we'll use this formula for this guy. Is this a sum or a difference? So we'll use this guy for that one. And just like the square root method up above, because we're working with cubes, this time we'll do the cube root of the first term and the cube root of the second term. And the first term will give you A, the second term will give you the B. And the same thing down here. We'll take the cube root of the first term, which will tell us A, and then we'll take the cube root of the second term, which will tell us our B. And then all we got to do is fill in the formula. So what's the cube root of 27? X cubed.
3
3.
x
What's the cube root of 8y cubed?
2y
Now you know your A and B. What's the cube root of w cubed?
w
What's the cube root of 125?
5 no
So all we have to do now is make our formula. So we're going to plug into this guy that's right there. So my first parenthesis is A plus B. So what's my A?
3.
3x. What's my B?
2y.
Okay. Parenthesis. Now this says square the A. So take 3x and square it. What do we get?
9.
9x
Oh, no. Isn't it?
you
squared. You square this guy.
Oh,
3
yeah.
times 3 is 9. X times x is x squared. Then we got a minus. This says multiply A and B. So multiply these together. What do we get when we take 3x times 2y?
6xy
Y.
6xy. Good. Plus, and this says square the b. So square 2y.
4y squared.
You got it. And there it is. That is how 19 factors out. All right, last one, number 20. We've already got all the information. Okay, all we got to do is fill in. So this says A minus B. So what's my A?
W
What's my B?
5
Okay, filling in the second parenthesis. This says square the A. So what happens when we take W and square it?
w squared
W squared. Plus, this says multiply A and B. So what's 5 times W?
5w
Okay. Oh, my pen's dying right at the end. Of course it is. Change up what I got here. There we go. All right, and last but not least, it says plus, and then it says B squared. So take my B of 5 and square it.
25
Perfect. And that, my friends, is the answer. And that is what exam 2 is going to look like. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.